Have you ever been ignored by someone you care about, and it hurt more than if they just yelled at you? That's because silence isn't empty. It's loaded. You clicked this video because you've probably felt the sting of being shut out. And no, you're not overreacting. There's a reason why the silent treatment cuts deeper than shouting matches. And today, we're going to unpack all of it. Why it happens, what it does to you emotionally and mentally, and most importantly, how to deal with it the right way. Let's get into it. So picture this. You're in a relationship, romantic, family, friends, doesn't matter. One day, something feels off. You text them, nothing. You call, no answer. You ask, "Hey, did I do something wrong?" And all you get is silence. At first, it feels confusing. Then it gets painful. And eventually, it turns into self-doubt. The silent treatment isn't just someone being quiet. It's an emotional weapon, a tactic, a way to punish without having to explain anything. In psychology, it's even recognized as a form of emotional abuse, especially when it's done repeatedly. It's called stonewalling, and it's one of the 4 horsemen of relationship failure, according to Dr. John Gottman, a leading relationship researcher. When someone gives you the silent treatment, here's what really happens under the surface. Your brain interprets social rejection the same way it interprets physical pain. That's backed by neuroscience. Studies show that being socially rejected activates the same areas in your brain as physical injuries. It triggers your fight or flight response. You start to panic, to overthink, to question your self-worth. You feel helpless. You can't fix what they won't even talk about. Now let's compare that to a heated argument. Sure, yelling isn't ideal either. But at least in an argument, emotions are being expressed. There's something to respond to. You're engaging, even if it's messy. With the silent treatment, it's like arguing with a wall. And worse, it makes you feel like you don't even matter enough to get a reaction. That's the real wound. Here's the thing. Most people don't realize. The silent treatment gives one person power and the other person confusion. It creates a power imbalance in the relationship, whether intentional or not. But why do people actually do this? Let's talk about that. Sometimes people use it as a defense mechanism. They shut down because they don't know how to express anger or hurt. Sometimes it's a control tactic. They know you care, and they use your emotions against you. Other times, it's immaturity, a lack of emotional tools to communicate properly. But no matter what the reason is, it still hurts. Let me tell you a quick story. There was a woman named Tara, let's call her that. She dated a guy who would go silent every time they had a disagreement. Not block her, not yell, just vanish. No texts, no calls. She'd lie awake at night, staring at her phone, rereading every message, trying to figure out where she went wrong. She thought maybe if she gave him space, he'd come back. And he always did, but only when he was ready. It took her a year to realize that wasn't love. That was control dressed up as boundaries. Now let's dig deeper into why this messes with our heads so much. First of all, humans are wired for connection. Emotional withdrawal, especially from someone you care about, feels like being cut off from oxygen. And here's the worst part. The more you care, the more it hurts. If a stranger ignores you, it's annoying. If someone you love ignores you, it can break your spirit. And yet, so many people are conditioned to chase after the person who's gone silent. Why? Because silence creates a psychological gap, and the brain hates unfinished stories. It's called the Zeigarnik effect. We remember and obsess over incomplete experiences more than the ones with closure. So when someone gives you the silent treatment, your brain scrambles to finish the story. What did I do? Are they mad? Do they still care? You try to fix it, even if you didn't break it. But here's the truth you need to hear. You are not responsible for someone else's inability to communicate. Let's go even further. This behavior can actually become addictive for the person doing it. Why? Because every time they go silent and you chase them, You reinforce the power dynamic. They learn. If I withdraw, you'll come running. And you learn to abandon yourself just to keep the peace. Let that sink in. So now comes the challenge part. What do you do when someone gives you the silent treatment? You might be tempted to break the silence, fix it, apologize for things you didn't even do, just to get their attention back. But that's the trap. Here's what you actually need to do. Pause and observe. Ask yourself, is this a one-time moment of overwhelm? Or is this a pattern? Don't beg for attention. The more you chase, the more they retreat, and the more they control the narrative. Speak your truth. Leave them a message, calm, honest, and kind. Let them know you're open to communication, but you won't tolerate being punished with silence. Protect your energy. If they continue to stonewall you, that's your answer. Sometimes silence speaks louder than words, and what it's saying is, you're not worth the effort. Don't echo that message by staying. And now, let's hit the climax of this whole message. Here's the truth that flips the script. You don't need to break the silence. You need to break the cycle. You teach people how to treat you by what you allow, what you accept, and what you reinforce. If you reward silence with effort, you'll keep getting silence. But if you reward silence with self-respect, everything changes. You start to attract people who speak, not hide, who face conflict, not run from it, who value resolution over punishment. Remember, healthy communication isn't about avoiding fights. It's about fighting fair, speaking openly, being real with each other, and someone who loves you, truly loves you, won't leave you hanging in the dark just to feel powerful. They'll talk, even if it's messy, even if it's hard, because silence may feel safe for the person doing it, but it leaves the other person drowning in uncertainty. And relationships don't grow in the dark. Let's wrap this up. The silent treatment isn't always malicious, but it's always damaging. And you deserve better than someone who chooses silence over clarity, distance over dialogue, power over partnership. You deserve connection, conversation, closure. The next time someone tries to control you with silence, don't lose your voice trying to win them back. Instead, keep your peace by choosing your self-respect. They'll either rise to meet you or reveal why they never deserved you in the first place. Watch the next video to understand why respecting yourself is the first step to being respected by others.